Hey, hey, hey. I said hey, hey, hey. It's your girl, LaQuana McIntyre. You are watching The Road to Success. I am successful too. We talk about a little bit of everything: mindset, personal growth. I mean, whatever comes to mind, y'all. Okay, so welcome back to another video. Let's just jump right into it, guys. I started a new series. I have a little playlist here on my channel that I am calling the Step Out of Your Comfort Zone series. Okay, step out of your comfort zone. And in this particular series, you're going to find a lot of videos where I'm talking about being too private, why being too private could be toxic. And today we're going to be talking about vulnerability. Okay, I want to provide you guys with some tips on how to start opening up without feeling like you are losing control, because let's just be honest, that's why a lot of us are too private, because we don't want to feel like we are being too vulnerable, and we don't want to feel like we're oversharing. And it almost gives us a sense of control when we can keep pieces of us to ourselves. And that is quite okay. Okay, that is quite okay. But being vulnerable is also a beautiful thing as well, because that's what makes you human, and that's what makes you feel connected to the world, to other people, and connected to who you are inside. Okay, so again, let's talk about vulnerability and how you can open up without feeling like you're losing control. Today, I want to provide you with 5 tips, guys. And again, anytime I provide you with tips, I don't provide you with these tips without actually trying this in my own personal life. Again, if I'm letting you guys know what's tea, that's because this is what I've already done and it's worked for me, and I pray that this could work for someone else. Okay, because I noticed there's a lot of people that was saying, oh no, I'm staying private because that's how I got burnt. Like, people talked about me and shamed me, all because I chose to not keep things to myself. Okay, so this particular list is teaching you how to better discern who you should be talking to, number one, and number two, how to approach it to feel more comfortable. Okay, because again, a lot of us are doing these things, we're holding a lot in because we're uncomfortable. There's something there's a root issue that makes us feel unsafe to do so. Okay, so and I make a list now because I just want to make sure I'm on point for you guys. I always want to make sure I'm on point. Okay, so today we are going to explore the basics of vulnerability, and I do want to provide you again with practical tips on how you could open up without feeling overwhelmed. Okay, the main thing in this series I want us to learn, guys, is how to build trust, how to communicate effectively. First of all, communicate effectively, and how to cultivate meaningful relationships, guys. All of this comes with you healing first and foremost. So if you are ready to start your healing journey, let's get to it, guys. Okay, number one, I want you to start small. Start small. Now, when I say start small, I'm talking about like actually choosing people to talk to that you don't have an emotional attachment to as much. Okay, so when we say emotional attachment to, let's say, emotional attachments generally come with family. Let's just be clear: family, boyfriends, girlfriends, children, deep relationships like that. I want you to stay away from that first and foremost. And the reason why I say that is because a lot of us has lost the trust because of family situations and family ties that were broken, and that's why we are so private now. That's why we don't want to talk to people. It's not necessarily because of a coworker or a friend that you went to school with, or somebody random that you saw at the grocery store that crossed you. Okay, like, of course not, because these are people you don't know like that. You don't have an emotional tie with them, so why would that have impacted you a lot? Again, it comes mainly from people that you've built meaningful relationships with that has crossed you, and therefore it's caused you to now want to go into a shell, and now you no longer trust people. And that's why I said, whenever you're wanting to learn how to become more vulnerable again, or for the first time, you do want to start with low stake relationships or situations. Situations could be little small things that does not mean a lot to you, that you don't have an emotional connection to. Okay, so let's just kind of give you examples of that. Okay, so an example is, let's say if you want to talk to someone about something that does, where you have limited expectations on, are your consequences of vulnerability or of rejection is very, very low, or your emotional investment is going to be minimum. Okay, so let's say if it's a job that you really, really, really want. Okay, but it could just be, a job that may get you to the next level. Okay, because it pays you more money, but you're not emotionally tied to that. That is something that you could be comfortable with talking to someone about instead of holding it in. Okay, so you could go to like a low stake relationship. I'm gonna say a casual coworker, an acquaintance, something like that, or even a neighbor. I don't know, just someone that you don't have an emotional tie with. If it's, again, something that's on your mind and you want to discuss how bad you want this job and you want to talk to someone, again, do it with someone where their opinion's not going to hurt you as badly. Okay, versus if you were to go to like a mom or dad and they were to completely tell you why you shouldn't take that job or XYZ, it may burn you to the mud. I don't know, depending on the circumstances, or vice versa. You may not want this job as badly. Okay, let's just X out that second part. But I hope you're getting the point. Okay, so let's just start small. If you're not talking to people at all, at least start there. Try to share bits and pieces of your life with people that you are not emotionally tied to. Now, that is going to take us into number 2. When I say share bits and pieces of your life that you're not emotionally tied to with people who are considered low stakes relationship, I still want you to choose trusted individuals. I'm not saying go to anybody, because we got to be careful of who we talk to. Let's just be clear, because people can sit up here and like retwist your words, then flip it and tell God knows who something that you didn't even say. That's why I said you do also want to pick and choose what you're telling them, and choose issues that are low stake, so it's not anything that would affect you if you did, say something to someone about something. You don't want to go too deep with a low stake relationship to the point where you're telling someone about your sex life or your breakup or something like that. That's a little too deep. Keep it on the minimum. Now, again, the only reason why we're doing this is because this is helping you learn how to open up more, y'all. Because believe it or not, there's a lot of people who does not know how to show vulnerability. It's crazy. Like, some people are literally so robotic that they can go through life holding in everything. Okay, but on the flip, don't know why they be so angry. Okay, like, why you so angry all the time? They'll try to deny it, but you're low-key dying inside. Okay, so again, let's just choose trusted individual, people that's proven themselves to you. Let's just be clear, that are supportive, empathetic, and non-judgmental. Those are key factors that you need to look for. So if you are going to talk to a coworker, I suggest that this is a coworker that you've been, working with for a little while now, that you've been able to kind of observe. And if they're not talking about other people and spreading other people's business, 9 times out of 10 you may be okay. And again, you want to have somewhat of a rapport there, you know what I'm saying? If you don't have anyone, then now's the time for you to start getting out there and talking to people more and making more friends. Okay. Number 3, practice active listening. Okay, so becoming vulnerable is not only just people pouring into you, but you also want to pour into others as well. You want to build a rapport. Again, you want to build a relationship. Okay, so whenever you're talking to people, you want to make sure that you're paying attention. You're asking open-ended questions, meaning you don't want to ask questions that just requires a yes or a no response. You want to ask questions that's going to require that person to create a dialogue with you. Okay, so a good open-ended question is, how was your day today? So you can't necessarily answer that with a yes or no. That's going to require someone to have an open conversation with you. And when you are asking people, how is your day? Oh my gosh, that does something for people. That makes them feel like, wow, that's amazing that someone actually cares about my day. So off top, that's going to build a potential meaningful relationship that you need in order to learn how to become more vulnerable. Okay, and you want to show genuine interest too. So you want to show genuine interest to build the trust and encourage reciprocity. Okay, so it's just all about, again, building that meaningful relationship. That way you can eventually have those trusted individuals that you could go to in order to become a more vulnerable individual. Okay, the next point I do want to get into is using I statements. I absolutely do this in my life all the time. Okay, I never want to feel like I am pointing the finger in somebody's face and you this and you that. Listen, this is a great tip for even when you are in like a relationship with your husband or wife or your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your children. Using I statements it's always better because it allows you to express your thoughts and feelings, which helps you still own your emotion and experiences without blaming or having the expectations on that person. It could be something that they actually did wrong to you, but you don't want to make them feel like you're attacking them. Okay, the reason why this is so important, because this is connecting the dots again to building that meaningful relationship, and it's allowing you to be vulnerable, but not in a way where you're playing victim. Okay, because a lot of people, they equate vulnerability to weakness and being in victim mode, and oh, you're gonna hurt me, and vulnerable is not all about that. It really isn't. Like, being vulnerable is just being expressive. That's what it is. It's being expressive because we're human and we have emotions, and once again, none of us are robots. You're going to have feelings. Okay, and that vulnerability again just allows you to become more in tune with who you are, which a lot of times leads you to purpose. I'm just gonna be real with you. I mean, gosh, there's so many nuances to this, y'all. Like, this might go over some of y'all head, but this is really, really real. Like, vulnerability a lot of times will get you connected to people that you never imagined. Like, even look at YouTube, guys. Like, a lot of the more successful channels on YouTube are coming from people who are being real, raw, uncut, and vulnerable. They're putting themselves out there. Like me, y'all, when I talk about, being single without children at my age, that's me showing my vulnerable side to you. Okay, I'm not coming in a sense of sadness, but there's a bit of fear there because I don't know. Like, I'm putting myself in a vulnerable position. I don't know, like, how people are going to attack me, like what people are going to say, what type of backlash I'm going to get. But on the flip side, it's helping people also connect to me more as well because of that vulnerability. Okay, and it's essentially building community. So just going back to the I statements, guys. So yes, whenever you do start embracing your vulnerability and you do feel as if someone is attacking you or you may have been hurt, keep in mind, stay away from the pointing of the fingers and the you, and start using I statements. I'm gonna give you a good example. So let's say someone said something that may have hurt your feelings. Okay, you can say something such as, I felt a bit sad about what happened earlier. They may ask, well, what happened earlier? I just felt like I couldn't understand why you felt the way you did, but I do know that it could be me, but I would just like a better explanation of what I could do better. So that's just an example. I mean, it may be it may be kind of a unclear example, but you you get my drift. You know what I'm saying? Like, just try to stay away from, well, you said that you was gonna do this and you called me stupid and I don't understand why you feel that way about me. Instead, say, I just don't like the way you said what you said earlier. And I would love if you can kind of better explain to me what you meant, because maybe I could have taken things out of context. Okay? Last but not least, let's talk about setting boundaries, okay? So we do want to make sure, out of all of the tips that I provided you today, that the boundaries are still there. Being vulnerable does not mean to just put your whole life out there and not care, okay? Like, put your most private secrets out there. No, it's not about that. You do want to share what you're comfortable with, okay? So always make sure you're protecting yourself at the same time, okay? Prioritize your self-care. Make sure you're always taking care of you first, okay? And maintain your emotional balance. So in the practice of becoming more vulnerable, pick and choose what you're telling people. Pick and choose what you're putting out there. I will say this: the more you practice it, the easier it gets. The more you practice it, the more you don't care. Okay? Like, I'm just gonna say that. Like, the more you practice it, the more you start to, like, really not be attached at all to what people's thoughts are. Okay? But if you are a person right now who really, like, man, you really get, like, kind of wrapped up in what people think of you, then definitely set and establish what your boundaries are. That's gonna look different for everybody. But don't let your boundaries be where you ain't gonna tell nobody nothing and I don't trust nobody. No, no, baby, that is not what I'm saying. Okay? Anyway, so I do want to reiterate this again, y'all. I want you to remember that vulnerability is definitely a strength and it is not a weakness, okay? So by taking those small steps towards openness and honesty, you can definitely build deeper connections, like I mentioned, and you can foster empathy and live in a more authentic world. Okay? You ain't gotta be lying about things all your life, okay? You ain't gotta be putting up a front. Okay? You ain't gotta be trying to keep up with the Joneses. You're human, baby. You're human. Okay? So that is it. I hope this helped someone today. Again, this is an installment to Stepping Out of Your Comfort Zone series, because we're all about thriving in 2025. Okay? Thank you guys. I appreciate you for tuning in, watching another video from your girl. Be sure you rate, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.